If Jon Jones does not come back right away, he's not focusing on the right thing. He needs to focus on what is next, the next path, because the rest it's a distraction, and things that needs to be done will be done. I don't know what Jon will do, but as a fan, I would love to see this fight.
He's like a heavyweight George St-Pierre. We don't see heavyweights that big, that are that agile, that can move, that are that powerful. They've got the wrestling, the jiu-jitsu, the conditioning, the discipline. I mean, that's what Tom represents, and I think Jon Jones knows that.
What does it take when one of the greatest minds in MMA history coaches the UFC's most dangerous rising heavyweight? Georges St-Pierre is officially training Tom Aspinall, and he's already given away massive hints on how to knock out Jon Jones. Meanwhile, Tom Aspinall thinks Jon Jones is shunning him, and he hasn't been silent on the matter. The interim champ has expressed his annoyance time and again, accusing Jones of avoiding a unification fight. Though he himself wears gold, Aspinall feels disrespected and ignored.
Like, people are starting acting surprised. Oh, John's a duck, this, that, and the other. Jon Jones ducked Francis Ngannou for 3 years. Like, don't be surprised that this guy always takes fights where he's at the advantage.
Aspinall went on to say that not only is he calling for the showdown, the UFC does as well. The promotion believes there's huge value in a unification bout and is keen to put it together, the British heavyweight told him. Aspinall also said that he's been told by several people inside the company that they're on board with it and think it's the one to put on, with the UFC behind him and the interim belt on his waist.
Why you're waiting? What's the reasoning?
Well, first of all, I want to be undisputed champ because I feel like I deserve a shot at it. That being said, I'm also a professional fighter and I'm not fighting at the moment. That isn't really my fault though. That's more to do with the UFC. They really, really want to make the fight with me and Jon Jones. For me, I'm not bothered if I fight Jon or not really. It'd be a good bonus if I can beat him. I'd beat the best of all time. The people say he's the person who's the best of all time, but I want to fight, man. But that isn't really up to me.
Dana White openly pledged his support for Tom Aspinall at the Jon Jones vs. Stipe Miocic press conference. While most of the spotlight shone on the two legends, Dana made one thing certain: the winner shouldn't ride off into the sunset without confronting the interim champ.
Do you still want to see the winner of this fight Tom Aspinall to unify the heavyweight title?
Was that for me?
Yeah.
What's the question?
Do you want to see the winner fight Tom?
The winner should absolutely fight Tom. Who's got the next question?
Knock it off.
Question for Michael Chandler.
In response to the news, Daniel Cormier also expressed his approval of the bout. The former double champ gave Aspinall's skill set high praise and concurred that the unification fight is the natural next step. Cormier reiterated that if Jon Jones wants to really set his legacy in stone, he can't just dismiss the threat of the rising interim champion.
All right, so Dana White has said that the winner of this fight would get the winner of Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic. Is Aspinall in their class?
I think he is, man. Just because of his age. He's so young. I think he's 30 maybe. John's 38. Stipe's 41. These guys have been around the block 2 or 3 times already. Tom Aspinall's still getting going, and he's been so dominant in everything he's done. Leading YouTube analyst, the MMA Guru, also rallied his support around the potential clash of Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall. He's continued to say it's the one fight actual fans want to witness, pointing to Aspinall's age, pace, and well-rounded skill set as the ideal trial for Jones. It's the only fight that actually determines who the undisputed best heavyweight on the planet is.
I've got a few hot takes, but one of them is that an interim champ should fight the champion next. Maybe. There shouldn't be this Tom Aspinall's won the interim belt. Yep. He defended it. And listen, if Aspinall was sitting on the Pavlovich win, I would say, who's this guy? Sitting on the Pavlovich win. Take the belt off him. You know what I mean? He stepped up on short notice. He's sat out for a year now, year and a half, whatever it would have been. And he's acting like he deserves all this. But then he defended it against Blades, and that's where I think it legitimized the interim championship. You know what I mean? If in a weird world, stamped his mark, like, oh no, this is the guy at heavyweight. He's now beaten Volkov, Blades, and Pavlovich in, I think, combined just over a round, which is kind of insane. to put those three names together like that. But yeah, I just feel like it's weird that there's Joe Rogan even being like, what about Pereira? You know what I mean? On the microphone in front of millions. And I'm like, dude, Tom's in the crowd, interim champ with a defense. Get him in the cage.
Even Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson supported the possible Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall bout, but he added a realistic reality check. Johnson mentioned that although the fight is sensible from a competitive aspect, Jon Jones would only come to terms with it if the money was adequate. With Jones being known to be strategic with his career and fights, Johnson noted that the UFC would have to present a strong financial offer in order to persuade Jones to fight the young, dangerous Aspinall.
Same thing with Jon Jones. It's almost that time. If Jon Jones is going to stick around even longer, you got to give the guy the next shot. But I think what Jon Jones could be doing is maybe setting something up. He said he would consider fighting Tom Aspinall if the number and a check is good. That way, if he did lose to Tom Aspinall, it doesn't really matter, right? So it's a very hard thing when you peel back the onion. And Dana White said it. He goes, Jon Jones needs to fight Tom Aspinall if he wants to fight again, right? You look at Jon Jones. Jon Jones, you want to fight Tom Aspinall? I want $40 million. I can't give that to you, Jon Jones. You're not getting Alex Picheda.
Prior to the Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic bout, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson had already expressed his opinion that a fight between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall should occur. Johnson recognized Aspinall's rising star power and his potential to challenge someone like Jones. He believed that Aspinall's skill set combined with his momentum made him a serious contender who could bring a new level of excitement to the heavyweight division.
My personal opinion, they should push for the Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. I think that sells way more pay-per-views. I think we might miss the opportunity for Jon Jones to fight Tom Aspinall. Because let's sit back and let's look at reality here. If Jon Jones fights Stipe Miocic November 9th, okay, they fight, Jon Jones beats Stipe or Stipe beats Jon Jones. Okay, so Jon Jones beats Stipe Miocic. Stipe Miocic hasn't fought in, like I said, four years potentially. And let's say he beats Stipe Miocic. Jon Jones is only going to get older. It's not like his body is going to miraculously just be, not suffer another injury in training camp or whatever like that. So I think this is an opportunity to catch lightning in a bottle with Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall, because Tom Aspinall is pretty hot right now. I think that's the fight to make. But once again, this is not my decision. It's Jon Jones' decision. This is just me as an athlete on the outside.
Moving on, Aspinall conducted a sit-down interview in which he freely expressed his doubts regarding Jon Jones' intentions. He was wondering whether Jones really intends to return and reclaim his title, or if he's simply seeking an exit. Aspinall explained he has respect for Jones's legacy, but feels the heavyweight division deserves some explanations. The UFC, the fans, and even ex-fighters want answers, as per him, and he's more than willing to fill in whenever Jones gets around to it.
Probably the best spot he's been in for a while. Yeah, there's definitely a bit of a jam up at the top. It's stuck a little bit. As soon as Jon Jones decides what he's doing, is he even fighting Stipe at this point?
Well, I think they're going to fight in New York.
That's what they say, but I don't see any contracts being signed or anything announced, so we don't actually know. But right now, I'm just doing my thing, to be honest. Curtis Blades is a serious guy.
Because I want to see you guys fight.
Yeah.
Look, Jon Jones beat a lot of us when we were older. The first time I fought him, I was 35. He's 38 now. You're the young guy. I'd like to see him fight guys that are younger to see if that skill set still holds up. And I think that it would test you and him in ways that would make for a fantastic fight.
I think so too, and I think I actually match up really well with him. We'll see. We're sitting here talking about Jon Jones. You know a lot more about Jon Jones than I do. Jon Jones is a tricky guy. So we don't know what he's going to do.
But when he shows up to that cage, then he's as good as they come.
Furthermore, Aspinall has already started planning for a possible fight with Jon Jones. Even after the bout with Stipe occurred, he's highlighted certain weaknesses in Jones's game that he feels he can take advantage of. Aspinall boldly asserted that he can see obvious openings where his speed, footwork, and accuracy striking could be major issues for the reigning champion.
Exactly what I thought would happen. In all honesty, I wasn't sure if Jon could finish him. I thought maybe it's going to be a 5-rounder at that kind of pace. Jon picking him off, Jon keeping his range, Jon walking him backwards, Jon mixing up the attacks between the head, the body, the legs, the spinning leg kick, the spinning back kicks to the body, the wrestling. He does it all incredibly well. And I think to beat Jon Jones, the most important thing you need is good eyes, good reactions, quick reactions, be able to see everything and do everything and react really quick. And in all honesty, Stipe Miocic, and this is said with a load of respect, He just didn't have that at 42 years old.
Aspinall even took it a step further by giving a complete breakdown of Jon Jones's fighting style. He broke down Jones's strengths, like his reach, wrestling, and fight IQ, but also wasn't afraid to call out weaknesses. Aspinall pointed out times in previous fights where Jones appeared vulnerable under pressure, particularly against quicker opponents.
Anyway, first of all, we'll talk about Jon Jones. What he generally does with this style is he's very long, 6'4". I mean, not as tall for a heavyweight, but he fights kind of here and does a lot of this kind of stuff, and his attacks are very varied. So he'll go this way on the front leg, he'll go here, he'll also bring the head kicks up, he'll fake the takedowns, come in with the spinning elbows. Also, he's grappling, so if Joe goes against the fence, a lot of the time what Jones does really, really well is once he gets his hands together on a double leg, it is so difficult to break that. So he'll be here, he'll set up the double. Once his hands are locked and he starts to pull his opponent away, he almost always finishes the takedown. Then, as we've seen against Cyril Gane, when his opponents sit up, he's got such a strong front headlock from here, sprawling his leg back. When he gets to this spot, he's heavy here, and his ground and pound is some of the best that we've ever seen. Some of the best elbows in MMA, period. Absolutely, really, really devastating with his elbows.
Even with the increased support for the possible fight, it appears Jon Jones isn't exactly eager to face Aspinall. Jones has stated that a bout with Aspinall doesn't do much for his legacy. Jones, a well-established champion already, would most likely consider the fight to be a gamble for little gain, with several of the division's best still on the table to be challenged.
I guess the clarifying question then is, if Dana and Hunter do come to you after this fight, the figures make sense to you, would you then be open to fighting Tom Aspinall, or are you categorically thinking, he does nothing for me, I will not fight that guy?
He does nothing for me. He does nothing for me. If you're a person that wants to see me really challenged, then I get it. 7 years younger, like 35 pounds bigger than me, right? I get it. It's like, wow, this Jon's so good. We finally found someone way younger and way bigger than him. I get that narrative. But for me, if you were my manager, if you were on my team, why not fight against Pereira, a guy who's the same age as you, and we walk around the same exact size? Business-wise, it makes more sense. Fight the, I'm gonna call him this, fight the nobody that may be more dangerous, or fight the guy with all the accolades, who's incredibly dangerous, but it actually will affect your legacy.
Additionally, Jon Jones, in an honest statement, said that Tom Aspinall's persistent callouts and constant urging for the fight were beginning to irritate him. He clarified that he doesn't view Aspinall as a man he desires to do business with. Nevertheless, Jones also accepted the business aspect of it, going on to say that if the monetary terms were highly rewarding, he could go for it.
He's annoying to me. He's annoying to me, and that's my own personal, he annoys me. I get to you guys, you find it entertaining, but I find him annoying, and I just don't like him. And at the end of the day, if I give him the opportunity to fight me, I want to be so compensated. I want to say it, I want that you money, honestly, and that's just what it is. That's just what it is. Or else, my life is perfect without him. I don't need him at all, and he needs me. And that's a good place to be in a negotiation.
Surprisingly, Daniel Cormier concurred with Jon Jones, saying Jones is not intimidated by Tom Aspinall, but is waiting for a good financial offer in order to make the bout a reality. Cormier noted that the calls for this bout have increased momentum because, for the moment at least, there is a legitimate challenger in Aspinall.
To get paid, and I think he recognizes the dangers in the fight, to give him that fight. I mean, when this line opened, Jon Jones was an underdog. Jon Jones was the underdog. I don't even know if there's ever been a time in his career where someone has been favored to beat Jon Jones. And I think that concerns him. That concerns him. That, to Jones, raises some questions, right? Because for as many fights as he's had, he's always been thought to be the better guy. This guy, Tom Aspinall, is the first time that someone says there is something in him that we will open a line where Jon Jones is not the better guy out there.
Chael Sonnen also weighed in on the issue, debating that Jon Jones is out of time in the UFC. Sonnen asserted that at 36 years of age, Jones is approaching the twilight of his career, and without his title, he stands to lose out in the organization. Sonnen pointed out that unless Jones gets big fights, particularly against up-and-coming stars such as Tom Aspinall, his moment in the sun could be fleeting.
Jon has a concern. They don't know what to do with me if I'm not champion. And if Tom beats me and he doesn't give me a rematch, or they won't guarantee me a rematch, what do they plan to do with me? I gained an understanding to the inside of Jon. If that in fact is accurate information, that Jon is worried about an immediate rematch and doesn't believe he's going to get it, can look at the board and see that he's 36 and on his way out, and this guy is 20-something on his way up. And he even questions why they left the belt with him, to the point that he's saying if they knew what to do with me not as champion, they'd have already done it. That's very objective. So is it as simple as guaranteeing Jon a rematch? Very interesting point.
Amidst all the excitement about a possible fight between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall, Georges St-Pierre, GSP, told Aspinall not to concentrate exclusively on Jones. Although GSP recognized Jones's legendary status in the sport, he encouraged Aspinall to maintain a wide focus and pursue other options in the division. GSP stressed that pursuing one fighter may restrict Aspinall's growth and future prospects, given how competitive and fast-paced the heavyweight division is.
To hear that, I think Tommy needs to focus on the next task. I remember when I lost to Matsera, I was making the mistake of trying to focus on Matsera to get my revenge immediately. But I had a few other fights lined up before to get that. And if he's only focusing on Jon Jones, and if Jon Jones does not come back right away, he's not focusing on the right thing. He needs to focus on what is next, the next path. Because the rest, it's a distraction, you know, and things that needs to be done will be done. You know, I don't know what Jon will do, but as a fan, I would love to see this fight. I mean, because in terms of legacy and accomplishment, Jon Jones is the best.
During a subsequent interview, Tom Aspinall parroted GSP's words, testifying that his true desire is to be the undisputed champion, and it has nothing to do with confronting Jon Jones. According to Aspinall, although the Jones encounter would be a gargantuan test, he is thinking bigger than one man. He reaffirmed his aspirations for the whole heavyweight division, hoping to beat the top opponents and grab the title in the most comprehensive manner.
It doesn't matter about Jon. I'm trying to be the undisputed heavyweight champion. That's it.
It is the interim heavyweight championship. Does that bother you?
I'm currently ranked #1 in the world, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But I want to be known as the best. I think there should be like one face, one name, every division. I obviously want it to be me, whereas Jon's like doing some weird stuff about it. Problem is the fact that he's sitting on the belt and not doing anything. For me personally, I'm trying to knock people unconscious, man.
Aspinall never hesitated to express his appreciation for GSP, labeling him as his favorite fighter. As close as they are, it's no wonder that he would take GSP's words seriously. The authority and regard that GSP has in Aspinall's career ensure that he would at least consider and maybe even act on GSP's advice to focus on other opportunities and not just concentrate on Jon Jones.
To be the greatest of all time, this is going to sound like madness, but GSP first of all did it in 2 weight divisions.
Amen.
Also, GSP had some bad losses and came back.
Avenged.
Now, to me, that is a sign of a real champion. Of course, you can be like Khabib, you can be undefeated and all the rest of it, like that's brilliant. But what does he do under the adversity? We still don't know because he's that much better than everybody else. But in my opinion, 2 weights, that's the difference, the 2 weights.
Aspinall also opened up regarding his constant dialogue with GSP, where he revealed that he consulted the MMA legend on how to deal with the media prejudice against him. He confessed that GSP's advice guided him through the pressure and negativity regarding his possible bout with Jon Jones. Aspinall mentioned that GSP's advice was instrumental in shaping his mind, learning how to keep his focus, stay calm, and not allow outside forces such as media reports affect his journey.
I spoke to GSP about it actually, just as I started like main eventing, and for anyone who doesn't know, GSP is like my absolute hero in MMA. And I was asking him just like a private conversation, like how do you deal with, you know, this like people wanting your attention and people wanting pictures and interviews, and like you say, people pull you this way, pull you that way, and something else, when you're popular, you're always the bad guy.
Yeah.
You're always the bad guy. So
because you have to disappoint people.
It's easy to point at the finger and at the popular guy and go, successful person. But I asked GSP, like, how do you deal with it? And he said somebody told him that it's easy to get rid of it you just got to start losing.
Yeah.
So it's up to you.
Yeah.
It's like a necessary evil. Like, if you want to win and be successful, you got to deal with it. But like I say, it's a pretty good problem to have in the world of, you know, in the overall spectrum of problems that you can have. Being popular and successful isn't that big.
Wage earners such as Rampage Jackson have weighed in on the possibility of the Jones versus Aspinall bout, with Rampage anticipating a win for Jon Jones. According to Rampage, Jones's experience, skill set, and ability to adapt in the octagon would prove too much for Aspinall to bear, especially in a high-profile fight.
Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. No, Jon Jones is the GOAT in my book. You know, he's one of the best. And I recently saw Aspinall fight for the first time recently, and he's a great fighter, and he's a great champion. But I think it'd be tough for me to ever say that anybody will beat Jon Jones until it happens.
During a recent interview between Rampage Jackson and Mighty Mouse, Rampage again stated his opinion that Jon Jones would emerge victorious in a possible bout against Tom Aspinall. He pointed out Jones's experience, adaptability, and fight IQ as key elements which would put him ahead. Mighty Mouse, however, conceding Jones's superiority, still thought that Aspinall stood a genuine chance of performing an upset.
I don't know, man.
Man, he'll smoke Aspinall.
Tom Aspinall is athletic, and I think Tom Aspinall would try to take to fight to Jon Jones, and it'll be interesting to see. Like, I'd rather see that fight over Alex Pereira.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
I agree. I would like to see that fight over Alex, but come on, man. Aspinall is a great fighter.
Yep.
He's a good champion.
Aspinall.
That's what I said. Jon Jones will smoke Aspinall.
Yeah.
Smoke him.
I can't wait to see. I hope it happens. That's the fight that needs to happen. I think Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones needs to happen.
Paddy Pimblett also was vocal in defending Jon Jones against the possible bout with Tom Aspinall. Paddy praised Jones's mythical status, skill set, and cage adaptability. He insisted that Jones's experience at the top level, along with his talent to nullify threats from everywhere, would prove to be too much for Aspinall. While respecting Aspinall's ability and potential, Paddy aligned with Jones, thinking that the reigning champion's fight IQ and adaptability would get the better of a battle between the two.
Do you think the Aspinall-Jones fights happens?
It's got to happen. I was sitting next to Tom the other week at the UFC in London and talking to him about it.
How do you think that plays out if they fight?
I'll be honest, Tom's a friend. I love Tom. He's one of the coolest dudes in the whole of MMA. Even though Jones is getting old, I just can't pick against Jon Jones. The one thing I do think Jon Jones has got the best in the world and the best ever is his fight IQ. He has a perfect game plan to beat that person. As much as I love Tom and I want Tom to win, I couldn't pick against Jon Jones. It's just something I couldn't do.
Thanks for the watch. Give us your comment below on whom you believe will win in Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell for additional MMA news and updates. Next one, you know where we'll be.